Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Amir Shafi. I would like to present about implication of COVID-19 to the stock market globally. So for the introduction, the IMF had predicted moderate global growth of 3.4%, but COVID-19, caused by SARS-CoV-2, a novel strain of coronavirus, changed the outlook unexpectedly. Due to fear and uncertainty, and the rational assessment that firms' profit are likely to be lower due to the impact of COVID-19, global stock market erased about 6 trillion in wealth in 1 week from 24th to 28th of February. The S&P 500 index lost over 5 trillion in from 24th in value in the same week in the US, while the S&P 500's largest 10 companies experienced a combined loss of 1.4 trillion US dollar. How is beginning? The market has reacted to recent unpredictable with large drops, triggering a market which wide circuit breaker 4 times in March. The safeguard paused trading for 15 minutes in hopes the market will come. The US Securities and Exchange Commission mandated the creation of market-wide circuit breaker to prevent a repeat of the October 1987 market crash, in which the Dow plunged 22.6%. Since then, they have only been triggered once in 1997, before the 4 times this much. How circuit breakers work? The current guidelines mandate a 15-minute pause in trading on all US stock exchange if the S&P 500 index falls more than 7% before 3:25 p.m. New York times. The breakers are set up to calm market by halting trading as it grows more and more volatile. The first two levels of breaks are set to half trading for 50 minutes, while a level 3 will suspend trading for the rest of the day. And for the market, rising volatility. The Dow and S&P 500 have both been seeing drops due to uncertainty around the global coronavirus pandemic, while the Chicago Board of the Exchange Volatility Index has been rising steadily since the middle of February as the virus began to spread around the world. Impact so far. The outbreak has increased the demand for medical products, especially face masks and test kits in effort to avoid spreading and or catching the virus. Trade shows and business conferences are cancelling around events around the world, such as the Giant Inspire Home Show in Chicago, which draws more than 60,000 attendants worldwide. Many business people are cancelling travel and constant vacation are rescheduled trips. As a result, United Airlines has taken an unprecedented step or cancelling 10% of its upcoming domestic flights and 20% of its international flights. With market and so high, what does this mean for investors? It means adopting strategies that benefit from volatility. The market has gone from a record high to correction territory in a week and then shot up 4.2% in a day as a focus. Economists have lowered their estimate for global growth due to the outbreak. Prediction include that China's economy will reach low growth level that haven't been seen since the 2008 financial crisis and may experience $800 billion in new bad loans. Impact to the it also gives impact to the industry across the world. And first and foremost, of course, the travel industry. Travel recession caused the tourism industry a loss of 200 billion globally, excluding other loss of revenue for tourism travel and for annual forecast to cause the aviation industry a total loss 130 billions according to IATA. And the hospitality industry, restaurant business have been affected during the pandemic mainly through the government announced stay-at-home policy and social distance policy. Distancing movement restrictions, so many customers stay at home, preferring to eat cooked meals at home. Loss of jobs to 24.3 million globally due to this decline in hotel occupancy during the pandemic period. And for all dependent countries, the oil price war a contributing factor. Early in 2020, the price of oil fell due to the oil price war between Russia and Saudi Arabia. They imposed travel restrictions during the pandemic, which led to a reduction in the movement of people and goods. Saudi Arabia later supplied excess oil to the world. The market was flooded with too much oil. Setting demand, the COVID-19 pandemic and subsequently leading to a fall in oil price and loss of oil revenue to oil-dependent countries. The global decline in oil price combined with the low demand for oil products in the international market lead to a significant shortfall in oil revenue to oil-dependent countries, which increased current account deficit and worse the balance of payment position of many oil-dependent countries such as Venezuela, Angola, and Nigeria. And how about impact to the industry, impact to the import-dependent country industry? Many countries import their essential commodities from major exporting countries such as China, India, and Japan, and depend largely on this country for the consumption of essential commodities. This leads to shortage of supplies to import-dependent countries as China shut down their factory. This leads to increase in the price of the remaining stock of imported supplies, which also triggered inflation pressure on the price of basic commodities. And next, we are going to impact to the financial technology industry and banks. The macroeconomic slowdown led to a rise in non-performing loans in the banking sector by 250 basis points. There was a general decline in the volume of bank transactions, a decline in card payment, and a fall in the use of ATM cash machine worldwide. Some financial technology business witnessed very low patronage by consumer, leading to loss of revenue and profit, which negatively affected the equity investment of venture capitalists that founded existing and new financial technology firms. On the other hand, the lockdown due to the coronavirus outbreak resulted in higher demand for some sort of online service, such as online shopping. And then next, to the financial market. Global stock market lost 6 trillion in value over 6 days from 23 to 28 February. S&P 500 index fell by 28% from 3,373 to 2,409. The FTSE 250 index fell by 41.3% from 21,866 to 12,830. In the same period, large international banks witnessed a plunge in their share price. For example, Citigroup's share price fell by 49% from USD 78.22 to USD 39.64. And next, for the event industry, business event hosted more than 1.5 billion participants across more than 180 countries. The event industry generated more than 1.07 trillion US dollar of direct spending, representing spending to plan business event, produce business event related travel, and direct spending by exhibitors. The industry also created 10.3 million direct jobs globally and generated 621.4 billion of direct GDP. Next, entertainment industry. Global film industry represent 5 billion US dollar loss during the coronavirus outbreak. 120,000 below the light entertainment industry jobs were lost due to the coronavirus. The UK estimate 50,000 industry freelancers were expected to lose their jobs as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. And for the health sector, the service of public hospital grew in high demand, but majority of the testing equipment were in private hospital. China temporarily closed all hospitals in the central city of Wuhan, the epicenter of a coronavirus outbreak. Iran hospitals struggled to cope with the coronavirus outbreak. In Spain, the Spanish government nationalized all private hospitals and healthcare provided as the virus was spreading very rapidly. And for the education sector, the coronavirus disrupted 600 billion higher education industry. Educators and students around the world felt the ripple effect of the coronavirus. The outbreak had a more severe consequence on schools that did not have an online learning platform. UNESCO reported that the COVID-19 outbreak disrupted the education of at least 290.5 million students worldwide. Next, impact to Malaysia. The Malaysian Institute of Economic Research tells us that Malaysian GDP may shrink by about 2.9% in 2020 compared with 2019, resulting in an estimate 2.4 million people losing their jobs. Of the 2.4 million job losers, 67% will be among unskilled workers. This is further incorporated by the food supply situation. As countries around the region look inward, prioritize food supply for their people first before exporting, and Malaysia will find itself in a precarious situation as we imported 50 billion in food annually. RM10 billion be dedicated solely for domestic food product to prepare for a food crisis. At the moment, the stimulus package flagged less than 2 billion, far short of the potential costs from the disruption of food imported. Physical deficit can be dealt with when the country gets back on track after the recession, but it will take decades to build up the economy again. This is not the time to be popular, but the time to sacrifice and decisive action. As the conclusion, many countries are affected due to the coronavirus. The coronavirus outbreak and the spillover to the global economy, which triggered the global recession in 2020. Many government has their way to prevent more about this pandemic. The recession that followed, which many countries experienced, was a reflection of the difficult choice that policymakers had to make in choosing whether to save the economy before saving the people, or to save the people before saving the economy. On the bright side, the coronavirus-induced public health crisis created an opportunity for many governments to make lasting reform in the public health sector. This is the chance where the government to give positive side to their people. That's all from me. Thank you.
君の虜になってしまえばきっとこの夏は充実